This is my mentor, so I'd like to introduce you all to my mentor, Gordon Johnson. Gordon serves as the president and co-owner of Highway Safety Devices. Gordon serves as a member of the executive board at the Tampa Bay Partnership. He served as the chief executive officer of Stonegate Partners and previously served at Bank of America, including the Strategies Group executive for the state of Florida. Gordon served as the Pinellas County president of Bank of America. He has been an independent director of Raymond James Financial since August of 2010 and has been a director of Raymond James's Bank since 2007. Mr. Johnson was named the 2006 Minority Business Person of the Year by the Tampa Bay Business Journal. He holds an MBA from Memphis State University. Please join me in welcoming Gordon Johnson.
Thank you, Ms. Penny. Good morning. Highway safety devices. So what are we doing out there? We install traffic signals, lights, signs, and guardrails all on your road systems there. But our distinctive competency, what we do that's better than anybody else, I think, or most others, is that something called Intelligent Transportation Systems, ITS. And what that is that's a series of cameras and detectors and sensors that are put in the roads, and it's all tied with an Ethernet fiber backbone that goes into these big traffic management centers. And the Transportation Department uses that to guide and move the roads more efficiently. Now, from a retail perspective, what you see in ITS are these dynamic message signs. We're putting them up right out here on 275 now. There's those big boxes, electronic signs that you see, and that's the retail side of that, giving information back to you. And what that's giving you right now is critical driver information that you will need and you currently need to drive. So in thinking about coming here this week, I was looking at the signs coming. I was writing down some of the messages that I saw on the signs that I thought I'd share with you. And the first one that I saw said, headlights on when it's raining. You guys got that information. That was critical for you, I'm sure there. After that, the next one I saw, it's a couple days later, it said that grandma's lost again. Here's our tag number. And the third one is that I saw was that the road system, the department can see the roads for a lot of miles in front of you, and you only see the cars in front of you. And so the sign that I saw was, if you're in this lane, for the next 9 miles, basically you're screwed. Now, the objective is the information is going to tell you what to do sooner or later, but the grid needs to expand to see that. But the real applications are going to be found in natural disasters. When we have our next big hurricane here, that system is going to be critical in terms of how we get people out of Pinellas County across these bridges. It's also emergency response. They're able to see the roads, and when an incident happens, they know the right equipment and the right response to get there, and they can get there quicker that way. And also something I call that dynamic GPS. My first GPS was that little Garmin box. Maybe some of you still have it. And it told me a linear direction to get to where I was going. Or your GPSs now, I guess they're all in your cell phones or in your car. They're dynamic. And they're using that data to not only tell you the shortest method from a linear perspective, but really the shortest time to get there. And that's what we really want, is to get that real traffic information so you know a shorter time to get to where you're going. Probably the biggest current use that you see in ITS is its ability to make the roads more efficient. And what I mean by that is, if you think about the roads that we drive out here, other than about 2 hours and 2.5 hours in the morning and about 2 or 2.5 hours in the evening, they're underutilized big time. And so, you got about 5 hours a day that they're utilized way over capacity, and the rest of it is under capacity. So what do? We add lanes. We're out here adding lanes now. Adding lanes, if you ignore the cost of buying new real estate, is somewhere around $25 to $50 million per mile to add lanes. And we're adding lanes for those 4 hours there. And so if we can use this information that we're collecting the roads to get information to you as motorists so that you can make better decisions, and if we can pick up small efficiencies in those 4 hours, and I'm talking about 4, 6, 8%, those are billions of dollars over years in savings that we can do by not having to widen roads for those 4 hours there. The future for this is going to be in something called autonomous vehicles. or connected vehicles. And basically what that means is driverless vehicles. There was an autonomous vehicle summit in Orlando about a month ago that I attended, and you're actually riding in these driverless vehicles, and it's way cool. It's going to be a neat thing for us all. But what I think that what I found about that is that a lot of that technology is in your cars now. If you have a newer model car, the cars right now, they can park themselves, and they've got sensors all over the place. They can manage the distance between two cars on a variable basis. They can keep a safe distance between cars. Some cars now, they can keep you from weaving in and out of lanes, and that's great for me because I get distracted easily. All that technology is coming together, and now they have these cars, and they are built. You're going to see the first autonomous cars coming off assembly lines probably in 2017, cars that can drive themselves on the roads. And they're loading them with data, and the way they make these cars work is they give them scenarios and millions of scenarios so that the cars know what to do as they approach other cars. You also, and most of that is what they call connected vehicles, and so that's technology that's in one car and another car, and so the cars are talking to themselves. And when you saw those, we were in Disney at their test track, and when you saw these connected cars moving, they moved like a school of fish. The information came from one to the other, and they simply moved together. They threw a ball out there, and those cars just moved right around it like one unit in a vehicle. It was fascinating. From what we do, though, is that there's information that needs to go from the infrastructure to the car, because the cars won't be able to see what's going on with a bicycle or a motorcycle that doesn't have all those sensors, or most importantly, us walking around as pedestrians. We do dumb stuff out there. We're the wild out there. We will step out in front of a car in a second, and they're building these vehicles now to deal with those kind of scenarios that for us to do what we do. What you're going to see, I think, is in about 10 years, you'll start seeing lanes that are dedicated to those autonomous cars. You're going to see one of them probably 10, maybe 12 years out, and what you'll do is you look over to your right or your left, wherever it is, and you'll see these little bitty cars. They're going to be small, and they're going to be running down there, and they're going to be very, very close to each other, and they're going to look like, if you see a bunch of them in a row, it's going to look like a little train going, and that's what you're going to see in about 10 years. Probably in about 30 years, what you're going to see, because I'm not probably going to be sitting at this point, though, you're going to see a bunch of those lanes, and that Acura that you bought this year is going to be an antique, and there's going to be one lane for antiques, which are driver-rated cars, and you'll have to pay a huge premium to drive your car in that single lane, because by that time, the entire network will be autonomous there. This is going to have huge implications on how our transportation infrastructure works, how cities are designed, and how we get around, especially in urban areas there. And it's coming now. You think it's out there, and it looks like Star Trek, but it's actually here now in front of us there. As Penny shared with you, my career wasn't always in transportation. I've been doing this a little over 10 years, and before I was with Bank of America, and Penny and I worked together. She was my mentor also for a bunch of years, and it was a much different environment. And I guess my transformation from being in a big corporation to being an entrepreneur was the word I would use, it was very much transformational to me. All of us fantasize, if you work for a big company, we all fantasize about striking out and doing our own thing. I mean, that's what we talk about in the water cooler, when I'm going to do it, and you never do it, but we all fantasize about it. And I think that what I found, it requires two things to actually make it happen, to take that step. And one, it required an event or a push. Something had to happen in your life that pushed you into that mode, either good or bad. And the other requirement that I was you needed a moment of clarity. Now for me, God put those two things in my life at the same time. My push event and my moment of clarity happened at the same time, and I was working at the bank, and I got another opportunity to transfer and pick up my family and move to another city. And something in my heart said, no, this isn't right, you don't want to do this. But then I was thinking about all those things that kind of keep me in my comfort zone. And you know, when you grew up in the South, black and poor, your comfort zone was defined around some qualities that kept coming back to my mind when I thought about this. And that was, you know, I was sitting there thinking about it one day, and I was kind of thinking, well, I don't want to do this, but I need to stay because I'm comfortable. And what that meant to me was, I was making pretty good salary then. At the end of the month, I actually had money left in the checking account. I had a short work day. You know, it was 9 to 5 work relatively, and that was very comforting to me. I knew my job, and I was comfortable with it, and I knew how to do it, and I was fairly good at it. At least that's what they were telling me. And heavily importantly, I had a great parking spot in the tower right next to the elevator. And so why leave that and go do this other thing? And so as I was looking up thinking about this, I saw this glow that kind of was above me, and I was thinking about this and that glow, and at that point, Richard Pryor popped into my mind. Now, I don't talk to you about how your God talks to you, so yeah. So for those of you who know Richard Pryor, you may know that back in the 80s, Richard had a little problem with freebasing and some instance, though. So anyway, I was thinking about that moment, and I was looking at that glow, and suddenly it hit me, the same thing that hit me that hit Richard was, that glow wasn't the glow of God up there. That glow was my hair was on fire. Now, Richard's hair was on fire because his got too close to the pipe. But my hair was, it was a figurative fire, and really it was a fire of complacency in my work world. And that was a greater danger to me than the fire that was burning Richard's head. Complacency is your enemy in any work environment. And what I would say to you that my fear of the unknown, because stepping out is really testing the unknown. I had gotten to the point where my fear of the unknown was greater than my fear of stagnation. And what I will tell you is when that's happened, you have to check yourself because you're going in the wrong direction. You know, all of us have dealt with the unknown. All of us are afraid of something. And when we actually go in and tackle or address and grab what we're afraid of, we always find what? It's never quite as bad as it was, except for zip lining. But other than that, everything else, nothing's quite as bad as it is. And when we do it and we're proud of ourselves and we actually find that it's doable. Stagnation, on the other hand, is as bad as it sounds. You know, if you'll talk to any doctor, if you talk to anybody who goes to the gym, okay, if you talk to your personal trainer, if you talk to any business entrepreneur, what they will tell you that being stagnant is going to eventually kill you, right? It's headed to death. Nature tells us that, right? Everything in nature that's ultimately stagnant is dying. And so what we have to do is grasp that and understand that and actively and aggressively pursue our unknowns, our fear of our unknown, because the alternative is stagnation, and stagnation is killing us. So what I would say to you is that whether you're making a decision about your personal career or making a decision about the business that you're in and a direction to go in the business that you're in, my challenge to you is to take that risk of tackling the unknown, because that's going to be better than the smoke that's coming from some of your hairs right now. Thank you very much.